Welcome back to the Asian Football Show. This is Erfan, and today we're going to be covering Group H, which is Saudi Arabia's group. As always, I'm joined by Arya and Kenta. Arya, how are you doing?
I'm doing very good. Thank you so much for having me. It's always nice to be here. Kenta, how are you, my friend?
Yeah, doing very well. Excited to be back on talking more Asian football.
And joining us today, we have Saudi football expert Khaled Al Yemni, one of my good friends. Khaled, how are you doing? Thank you so much for
I'm good.
joining
I'm
us.
good. How about you? How are you, Arya and Kenta? So yeah, it wasn't like the best way to get qualified to the World Cup actually this time, but that goes back to a lot of things happened in the past, or let me say after the 2022 World Cup, in this like 3 or 4 years. So if we go back to the 2022 World Cup, if we see like the average age of the Saudi lineup, it was like I remember it was like 30 or 29. So all of these players are at the end of their careers. So what happened? We didn't switch to the next step, okay? Or we tried to, but like these kind of talents, the new talents weren't good enough to fit like the Saudi national team. So we see like where we were winning like the Asian Cup. I remember in 2019, the under 21. So if you go back to that lineup, Saud Abdul Hamid is the only player is in the Saudi national team as I remember right now. Most of that squad is like third choices in their team right now. So for me, switch from like the switch from 2022 to to start the new qualifications of the World Cup 2026 didn't go well. So we started with Mancini. Mancini came with a totally different mentality. He tried like to play with a total different way. It wasn't like about it was right or wrong that Mancini will start in that way. But the thing is, like, do these kind of players can fit the style of play of Mancini? No. So we can see Mancini is succeeding with the set. The quality of players are different, and also based on my information, there was a lot of problems going on between the players and Mancini, and like this is my information is taken from one of the staff of Mancini. So the players don't want like to play for Mancini at that time, and the same thing, Mancini don't want to continue with the Saudi national team. So that's why we started bad at like the beginning. If you start bad, but it will be more difficult at the end. And if you start good, okay, your chances will be higher at the end. So that's my point of view on the qualifications of the 2026 World Cup.
Yeah, before we move on, sorry, Kenta, before we move on, obviously Saudi Arabia hosted the fourth round of qualifiers. Do you think Saudi would have qualified if they didn't host that round?
Actually, no, I don't think we're gonna get qualified. See, the atmosphere of as we saw in the game of Indonesia, okay? Indonesia was capable to do a comeback, okay? And we're playing like we are the host of the game. If there weren't, if we play like that game in Indonesia, Indonesia will 100% win that game. So, and also in this qualifications, there is one thing. Okay, I don't know if you guys are aware of that. Saudi hadn't lost in Jeddah since 2015. I remember. So the first game we lost was against Japan. That's also a thing that the players mentally was they started feeling that they lost everything.
Yeah, I know from a Japanese perspective that win in Jeddah was very historic in multiple senses. Kind of moving on to the World Cup in the groups. You guys opened up against Uruguay, national team. You guys matched up in the group stages back in 2018, a 1-0 loss back then. It's an Uruguayan side that maybe isn't coming into this tournament on the greatest form. You go back to like 2 windows ago, back in 2025. They suffered a really bad defeat against a not so great U.S. men's national team side that had a lot of MLS players on their team. 5-1 loss, and yeah, I was not at the match, but I was kind of covering it remotely from what I do over here in the States, and it was one of those matches where you turn your head and you go, maybe this Uruguayan side has a lot of vulnerabilities going into the World Cup, especially defensively speaking. So I'm curious, kind of this opening match of the group stage, playing in the U.S., where you guys have been a participant in Gold Cups in the past, where it's not an unfamiliar environment to be playing in, I guess. What are your expectations for this opening match of the group stage, and do you have a kind of a prediction of what the scoreline would be in terms of who wins or if there's a draw here?
To be honest, I'm not expecting anything from my national team in this World Cup, but let us go back to all our World Cups we participate on. Okay. One of the best teams that we have, and I know that will be shocking for everyone. One of the best teams that we have was in the World Cup 2002. But what happened next, So, for example, the four strikers that we have in the squad in 2002, they were the top scorers of the league. So we end up that World Cup scoring 0 goals and conceding a lot. We don't need to go back to that time. I don't know. I'm not expecting anything. I didn't expect anything also from Argentina when we were playing against Argentina, but you don't know. So when you're expecting nothing from someone, maybe the pressure will be less on them. They will try to play without pressures. That's the only positive thing about it. Based on the names, based on the squad, based on everything, I'm not expecting nothing until now. So now we are only, I remember, I don't know how many days, around 34 days from the World Cup or something like that. We still didn't play any single friendly game with our new coach. And he plays in a total different style than Hervé Renard was playing with. So that's why I'm expecting nothing, to be honest.
Do you think even though Uruguay is not the team it always is, it's weaker than before, do you think maybe Saudi have a better chance against them because of that?
No, but let us be honest. The quality, even if the players are not in their best form, the quality of the players of Uruguay is not same as the quality of players in the Middle East. If you go back to their teams, where are they playing? They are playing in more competitive leagues. They are playing with a better mentality. They are fighting for their careers. In Saudi, most of the squad are not young, so they will fight for what? So they're just gonna go. They want to participate in the World Cup. Then after that, I don't know what they're gonna do. So for example, if you see, I think you saw Sultan Mandesh, or you heard about him. He's a winger. He play with Al Hilal against Set in the first half. He's very good. He's doing well right now, but like Saudis are counting on him on the right wing. But if you go back to his age, he's 32 years old. So it's not a best way to start your career with the national team.
Then the second game is against Spain, obviously European champions, very strong team. I think we can all agree it's going to be Saudi Arabia's toughest game. Saudi played against Spain once before at the World Cup back in 2006, where they lost 1-0. What do you expect in this game? The predictions for the scores, or is there any chance Saudi can do anything?
Well, we don't know. Football is always football. So you said, and we lost 1-0 in the World Cup 2006. I remember in 2010 we played a friendly. We also lost 5-0. I don't know. I remember that was the last game against Spain, but at that time they were the champions of the world. I don't know. I think Spain will be a tough game, but again, I'm expecting a better result against Spain. I'm not saying we're gonna win. We might lose, but in a better way than Uruguay, because it's. I think this will give the players something inside. They will fight to not lose with a big score or try to do something. You're playing against Spain, so that's why.
Similar to Argentina, right?
Similar to Argentina. Actually, if you go back to the Argentina game in the first half, I wasn't expecting anything. But that quick 2 goals, change everything. So when you are at the game, your mentality now, I'm taking the lead. I'm not gonna lose this game. So yeah, this is football.
Moving on to the third and final game against Cape Verde. This is a game that, right? I know we were talking about. This is the World Cup. Saudi might shock the bigger teams, but on paper, Cape Verde is a team that Saudi is very capable of beating, and probably is the favorite going into that matchup. Cape Verde, who I think are not a team to underestimate either. I think they've had a pretty huge rise over the past few years, I would say. And they topped the group in World Cup qualifying over teams like Cameroon, for instance. It's a team that can play football, but again, on paper, it should be a team that Saudi should be able to beat. What do you think about that game?
For me, now talking to the Saudi people, most of them are underestimating Cape Verde. Okay, but the thing that they didn't know that most of these players are playing in the Portuguese league. Most of them didn't find the chance in the first team in Portugal or something like that, or like in the under 21s. So they switched their nationality to Cape Verde. They are tough. They are tough. They are not easy. They are physically strong. I remember even like when we played in the CONCACAF this summer. Okay, like teams like Haiti or something. They are not like they're not easy. And the biggest problem in the Saudi football is the physicals. They're not the best. You can find like good players, but they're not physically strong. I think, to be honest, that game, I think it will bow. I think we're gonna lose all three. Okay, but our best scenario, we lose the first two and draw against Cape Verde. I'm not expecting anyone until now. But what do you think? Like, did you watch Cape Verde?
We watched them at the Al
They
Ain
played,
International
they played
Tournament.
against Iran, and they're a pretty physical side, to be fair to them, right? That's the thing. They are a pretty physical team, so that might cause some problems to Saudi. Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot closer than what people think. And obviously, Cape Verde are going in with they have nothing to lose mentality, right? Because they're going to be the underdogs for sure in that group. So they're going to give their all in all three games, which I think will make things even harder for Saudi Arabia. So yeah, I think let's just
And keep in mind, one win might secure for you to be qualified to the next round. Only one win, because there are best three spots.
Right.
A World Cup like this is opportunity for players to make a name for themselves in one way or another. There's certainly some established names on the Saudi national team that have, this isn't going to be their first World Cup, but I'm curious if you have any names in mind for players that have an opportunity to kind of break out and make a name for themselves in this tournament.
For Saudi, I think we have like now our best talent, and he's doing really good. Mus'ab Al-Juwair, he's the best until now. And if you see his statistics in the Saudi league, I think he's the second or the third that have the most assists. I think only like two behind Joao Felix, which is the first. So I think like I'm counting on him. I'm counting on him a lot. And Saud Abdel Hamid for sure. I'm based on what I know, like the style of or the way that Donis play, he will use Saud a lot, because I think this will be our two key players. Salim Al-Dosari is not living his best moment in the past 2 or 3 months. A huge pressure from the fans, also Al Hilal fans. I don't know, but I'm based on what I'm seeing right now, I'm not expecting from Salim anything, but you never know. Like big players will always show something when their national team needs them.
You already spoke about Salim, but I want you to get a bit more into detail. Like, what are the expectations for him in this World Cup? Because this is his last World Cup, right? He's, I think,
for sure.
34 is he right now, or 35?
Yeah, but no, between 34 and 35. And even like next year is his final year with Al Hilal. Okay, so Salim, but Salim, like in 34, keep in mind players didn't have any breaks this season, especially for Al Hilal, only 20 days. Okay, between switching between two seasons because of the Club World Cup. So I think if like he needs to do or show something, okay, in the next 3 or 4 games to just get back his confidence and like give the fans some confidence to support him. But until now, no, he's doing nothing, even with Al Hilal, which is my team. I always expect from Salim, like always wait from Salim the thing that you don't expect.
Gotcha. Moving on to the team manager, which is a very interesting topic to talk about. Obviously, Villanelle got sacked not too long ago to be replaced by Greek manager Georgios Donis. What are his expectations, and rather, I mean, if you want to kind of talk about both Donis and Renard as well on how surprising, the timing of the sacking was, and was Renard favored, criticized? And I guess the same question goes to Georgios Donis. Is he currently favored? Is he criticized? And what sort of tactics can we expect from him at the World Cup?
See, Georgios Donis was with Al Hilal back in 2015 in 2016 season. He's he's more balanced coach than attacking or defending coach. But I think but I think after Al Hilal, okay, he started to turn into a defending coach. Even the clubs that he's taking over was in the Saudi League was Al Wahda, Al Fatih, Al Khalid. That's what I remember. His style of play is more defensive. But if you see in these three teams, some good talents were like given to the Saudi national team, such as if you see Nawaf Al Agidi, we have Murad Housawi from Al Khalij. Even I spoke before this interview to one of the players of Al Khalij. He's a young player, under 21. I asked him about Donis. He said he likes to watch young talents a lot. For example, like in this season, he write down names of 5 players from the under 21 team. He take them on normal basis to the training of the first team. So, for example, if he needs them anytime, he's gonna use them. Okay, so he have confidence in young players, and that's a good thing because Hervé Renard is not the type of coach that give like a chance to young players. He's looking for a more player, like
Experienced players.
experienced player and a more that a player that played in like high levels. Okay, because Hervé Renard will never like call up a player from a mid-table team to a low or a player in a not bad team, in a low team, like in the lower rankings. So for me, that's a good point with Donis. Okay, people are expecting from him a lot, but that's what we always hear about when a new coach take over, like the Saudi national team. You will always hear, or any team in the world, you're always team like hear high expectations or something like that. But for me, I don't think the timing is the best timing, because no one will gonna do something like 1 month before the World Cup. People will talk about Morocco with Walid Al-Regragui, but let us compare. Morocco have like players are playing in PSG, Real Betis. They are playing in big teams in Europe. They are more ready for high level competitions. So for me, I say let's wait and see what he's gonna do. But I like Donis a lot. He always try to do like something with these mid-table teams. For example, with Al Wahda, they played the Asian Champions League playoffs in 2020. I think he's gonna change something, but that change will not be enough during that time for the World Cup, for competition. In the Asian Cup, who knows?
Khaled,
Talking about a
we
World
have.
Cup.
Sorry,
Go for it.
Kenta, yeah.
No, you go.
You mentioned to me before you have a nickname for Donis, right? What do you call him?
Nikonam of the Saudi League.
Yeah, just wanted to mention that so people get a better idea.
Nikonam with a better idea, but and that goes back, to the quality of the teams that he take over them. Like, for example, what you're expecting from Al Wahda or Al Fatih or Al Khalid, you're not expecting from them to win the league, but they always cause problems for the bigger teams. So I think, based on what I know, they were in between 2 coaches, which is Shamoska, the coach of Al-Ta'aun, and Donis. For me, I prefer Shamoska, but I'm also okay with Donis. But if you ask me, I prefer Shamoska because Shamoska is a kind of coach that, players like him. He give the chance to everyone. Even if you see with Al-Ta'aun now, Al-Ta'aun is a very good team. I think you saw them also against Traktor last season.
Unfortunately, yes.
I mean, my team, Al Hilal,
Sorry.
we're in the title race. We draw twice with a town, even here in Riyadh.
All right. I know I briefly mentioned the Gold Cup because it was around this time last year during the summer that Saudi Arabia were a participant, and I want to touch on kind of the fan base that was there at the match. It's important to preface for those who don't know CONCACAF very well that like they do 2 matches at once in the same stadium, like one back to back, and they sell 1 ticket. So it's really hard to sell out for one fan base to overwhelm the crowds because 4 fan bases are trying to get into the stadium at once. It's very complicated. Despite that, I thought Saudi Arabia had a great turnout in terms of the fans at the stadium watching these matches at the Gold Cup. Now, World Cup, obviously bigger stakes, bigger stadiums. You're not competing with another match. I'm curious what you're expecting from the fans in terms of attendance, in terms of show out here in the U.S. in the group stage matches. You're kind of all over the place. You start in Miami, you go up to Atlanta, and then you're going out west to I think Houston for the final match day of the group stage. And also, like, what's kind of the expectation and like, the hype is not the greatest word to use here for this competition back in Saudi Arabia.
See, here in Saudi Arabia, like usually in this kind of tournaments, okay, you will see like a huge promotions from like every company, okay, for example banks, restaurants, and for example if we go back to but we can't compare because Qatar you can go by car from Saudi, but if you see the promotions like for example if you're a Saudi fan and you want to go, you can find you can find the ticket even one day before the game because the ticket was under the Saudi Football Federation. Okay, they buy them all from FIFA to make it easier to Saudi fans to go, but I don't think it's gonna happen exact the same like US, and because like the travel distance is a bit far, but I'm still expecting like not a high attendance, but a fair one. Okay, because as like from my experience, there is a lot of students that's from Saudi that's studying abroad. Even though it's summertime, World Cup is a thing to not come back to Saudi during summertime to stay in the US. I think it will be like pretty good. For example, as you mentioned in the CONCACAF, keep in mind the Saudi national team didn't play with their first team. Al Hilal was participating in the Club World Cup, so the names of the Saudi national teams in that tournament is not like now they are not the choices even for the national team, not second or third choices. I think only Saleh Shehri was the only player that played the World Cup from that squad. And the Saudi fans are like really do care about the names that play with the national team. Like for example, now if you go like or you hear our media, okay, they're not fighting about the national team were they good or bad. No, how many players from Al Nasr, how many players from Al Hilal, and that's the issue here in Saudi. The media is not like the media is not supporting the national team, and the fans sometimes like listen a lot to the media, so that's a big issue. But to be honest, I think a fair attendance will be good, and not even from Saudi, for everyone like around the world. World Cup is World Cup. It doesn't matter like which game you attend.
And I want to talk about the strengths of this Saudi national team side. Obviously, what you've been saying, I don't know if there's a lot, maybe a few things. So if you can just point out one or two strengths of the Saudi team, what they're good at doing.
We're really good like at like our our main strength now will be Musab, because he know how to like pass between the lines, break lines. I think if he's in like a good form, he's gonna do something good. Let's not miss Saud and Salim. So our biggest strength will be on the left and on the right. Wingers maybe until now, because we didn't see like how do Donis is gonna play. Are he playing with actual real wingers or wing backs? So I think these two areas will be our main strength. But our weakness, I think, will be in the strikers. We don't score a lot. We don't have a striker until now here in the Saudi League. Russell Brakan is he's scoring like around 10 or 12 goals. But if you go back to the games, sometimes he's playing as a left winger because Ivan Toney is playing as a striker. So that doesn't count. Firas is playing as a striker. He's going to score like a lot. So, yeah.
Good stuff. So I think that pretty much rounds everything up for today's episodes. Yeah, again, thank you so much, Khaled, for joining the podcast. It's always a pleasure to have you. So yeah, guys, all of his links will be down in the description for you guys to check out. Same for Kenta, Erfan, and I. Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, listening, supporting us. And yeah, we'll see you guys in the next one. Oh,
before you go,
yes,
I have a question. So you asked me, guys, what do I expect from Saudi in the World Cup? But I want to ask you guys, what do you expect?
So to be honest, I think that Saudi's main focus should be on that Cape Verde game. It doesn't matter how much they lose by against Spain or against Uruguay. Like you said, Khaled, in this World Cup, with one win, you can just guarantee yourself the knockout spots. So even if they don't do well in the first two games, I really think that they do have a chance against Cape Verde, because Saudi, the quality is definitely there. Maybe they might not be in the best form, but they have the quality, and we have seen that before. So I think there's a good chance that Saudi makes the knockout.
If we won all three games, Trust me, I'm not gonna watch football again because it
If I
will
were
be
to
totally
give my if I were to give my prediction, I don't know. I even look at like Darwin Nunez, who's playing in the Saudi Pro League. Like he's not playing at all. So I really don't. I'm not very high in this Uruguayan national team. I've seen them play with my own eyes. I've been unconvinced in recent matches, and I think it's an opportunity to like get started on the right foot on the opening match day. And I think that confidence, I don't think it translates into any sort of result against Spain, but I think that translates into a win over Cape Verde. So I'm going 4 points and then moving on to the knockout stage. I think Uruguay will probably be this ugly 0-0 draw. I'm not overly convinced by Saudi Arabia's attack, but I'm also not convinced by what Uruguay do going forward. And I think it'll be one of those kind of messy
But keep
matches
in
to start
mind,
the group stage.
Bielsa has always Bielsa, so
Bielsa.
yeah. So yeah.
We'll see. We'll see what happens.
We'll see. Let us see. Thank you for everyone. Thank you for giving me a chance and having me in your show. I hope you guys, inshallah, all the best in the future. And but inshallah, 1 million views, 2 million views, something like that in the next episodes. Who knows?
Hopefully.
Hopefully, inshallah.